Oh my God, top 10 greatest horror movies. Finally, somebody got the memo.
The 10 greatest horror movies ever made.
So it's like the best horror movies, and then they're plus ones who probably should pay full price for drinks.
I'm very excited to talk about our picks for the top 10 horror movies today. Whether I agree with them or not, we will see.
I don't know why I'm personally here. I guess John Roque is afraid of scary things.
I love horror movies because it makes me feel different than all the other genres out there.
Being able to experience something that's so out of this world and terrifying, but in the safety of a movie theater where you know it's not real.
We love getting scared, and then we hate the fact that we're staying up all night worrying about what's under the bed, what's in the closet, why is there a floating nun?
It's time to shine a light on one of the greatest genres of all time. You heard me.
On today's show, who is this question mark person who could be in Avengers Infinity War 2? This guy is going to join King Kong versus Godzilla. And I want to get this quote right. I am totally butt crazy in love with the idea of a new Clueless movie. That's from the movie.
Is that from the movie?
I don't remember that quote.
That's I think you just made that up.
I just read it, and so therefore it was on the internet, and it must be true. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Collider Movie Talk. My name is Mark. That is also a Mark Reilly, the Schmoedown legend, and over there is Kim Horcher, one of our new best friends. Hello, gang. How are we feeling on this Thursday?
I feel great.
You look great.
I feel fantastic. The Lakers are really killing it lately. That's why I'm wearing the hat.
Got a W.
We got one.
Facing the undefeated Nuggets
We got
tonight.
one. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Kim Horcher, you any sport team affiliations that you're particularly excited about?
No, I don't care about anything.
Good.
Sports related.
She lives in LA, but she's going to be totally cool if the Red Sox win the World Series, which, judging by last night's game,
oh boy,
looks like they might do. But we'll see what happens when it comes to LA. I'm an Orioles fan. I don't really care. I just get excited about athletics. The other thing I'm excited about before we get into our first piece of breaking news is that tomorrow night, Friday, it's the big comedy theater show that I will be headlining. My name's Mark, but you can also see a bunch of my friends. They're really funny too. Candace Thompson from The Tonight Show is going to be there. John the Outlaw Roca. It is hosted by Josh McCouga and Ken Knapsack. Jay Washington just announced he's going to pop in, and our good friend T as well. So it's going to be a good show. You can grab tickets right now at markellislive.com. Use the promo code Schmoes, and it is 18 and over. So all you kids get in there with, you don't need your fake ID. That's when you drink alcohol. And then you probably should bring a pretty solid fake ID. I believe I know a salesman just to the left of me. Well, we are going to start this show by giving you some heads up on a new project that is currently about to be in development, is what we hear about a Clueless remake. That's right, Clueless, the hit movie from the 90s directed by Amy Heckerling. And it broke Alicia Silverstone out of just the one from the Aerosmith videos into a movie star, and it launched the careers of people like Paul Rudd, Brittany Murphy, Donald Faison, amongst others. We might be getting a reboot now, and the reboot is apparently going to be written by the producer of Girls Trip. Sorry, it's going to be produced by the writer of Girls Trip. There we go, Tracy Oliver, and it's going to be written by Glow writer Marquita Robinson. So I think this is exciting news. I think Clueless just seems like one of those stories to me that can be told again and again with every generation. And so I look forward to seeing what a new version of Clueless would bring. I think there's certainly going to be a demographic for it, an audience for it in each and every iteration. If you give it 10 or 15, 20 years or so, there's an off-Broadway version that's about to launch as well. I believe there's a TV show at some point. So my first thought, to be honest with you too, is that when I heard this, I was wondering how many of the original cast should come back, can come back. I want to see cameos from everybody, see what they're up to in their lives now, as well as whatever new crop of Clueless teens we're going to launch. So Kim Horcher, I was lucky enough to break this news to you when you arrived at our studio. How do you feel about a Clueless remake?
At first I was like, how do you remake this without the 90s? Because Clueless is it's the 90s movie to me. Mm-hmm. But it's Emma from Jane Austen. So yeah, of course you can remake it. I don't know if it'll be as iconic. I mean, there was Mean Girls. That was iconic from the 90s. And we had, Mean Girls from the 2000s, Clueless from the 90s. Did we have one in the mid ones.
Like 80s or mid 90s?
Oh no, like 2015.
I don't know that we have
2016.
had that like one coming of age film that so encapsulates the current time period that we're in. I don't know if we're able to put our finger on it at the time and say, oh, this is definitely the movie of our generation. We might look back in 10 years and say, I don't know, something like Love, Simon. Oh, no, that was the movie of our time. Mark Reilly, will this Clueless movie maybe be the film that Kim is talking about that could be the movie that reminds us not of the 90s, but of the 2000 teens?
I think it has. I think it absolutely has a chance because of what Kim said in reference to Emma. It's a story that you can remake and shine a light on the culture. And that's what Clueless did so well, is that's a staple. 90s culture, you feel it. You watch it, rewatch it, you're like, I'm right there in the 90s. You could do it now, and I think the team that they have, I finally saw Girls Trip like a few months ago, and I was like, this is great.
Oh, good for you.
That was a great movie. And so when you tell me that the writer is coming on to produce it, and we get The Glow, which I did watch a few episodes of Glow, I'm like, this is a great team to bring it. Who knows if it'll land like the Clueless of the 90s did. And I'm wondering if they could do this nostalgia thing that they've been doing in movies, which is it's a continuation. So maybe Alicia Silverstone's Cher can come back somehow, just reprise her role for a cameo that's like, it just takes place in today's world. Maybe it's at the same high school with a whole crop of new kids. Wait and see. I don't know, but I think it's kind of no-brainer to bring this one back.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the math because the two teachers that got together, I think that I don't know if they would have had children, but if they did, they probably did right away. So maybe that time frame doesn't link up for it to be centered around their kids, but maybe it does work perfectly for Cher Horowitz or maybe one of her friends, somebody that she knows in her circle, to be having offspring, Kim, and having them of the age of high school. Do you think that that's a little too on the nose? Would you just go for a straight reboot and we don't worry about any of those original characters?
I don't know if I can imagine Cher as like a wise mother.
I want that.
I don't
actually.
know if I can though.
I would love
like
to see
Cher and Dion as like, very Botoxed mothers in Beverly Hills.
I imagine her being like one of those moms that like, look, if you kids want to drink wine, I'm the cool mom. So just do it at my house.
That's Amy Poehler from Mean Girls.
That's very true as well.
Yeah.
She literally calls herself the cool mom.
She was the cool mom.
Her boob job is just ridiculous. So that could be fun if you go that way.
Yeah, I mean, we could go a number of ways with the Clueless remake, so we want to hear from y'all. Let us know right now in the chat room, on the YouTube comments after the fact. If you're listening to us via podcast, just shout how you feel right now in the car, at the gym, wherever you currently are listening to our dear show. Well, our first official piece of news here today that we planned for was Avengers 4 Heavy, and it's something that I don't feel like is a huge spoiler, but I'm going to give you all the spoiler alert. I don't think it's worth turning your podcast off, but because we have so many podcast listeners, I'm going to help you all timestamp it right now. So we're going to set the clock at 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes is fair because, again, we'll talk about it. We'll move on. It's not a huge deal, but it's a deal. So 5 minutes starting right now. You can tune back in if you don't want to be totally spoiled by Avengers Infinity War Part 2. And that would be that Frank Grillo is talking. He obviously played Crossbones in a number of the MCU movies, and he mentioned that he's going to be back for the fourth one in a flashback type sequence. And apparently Avengers 4 might lean into those a little bit. And it's a technology that Tony Stark is displaying for a group of well-minded students in Captain America Civil War, where he says it's basically hijacking your hippocampus, a very costly method of doing so. So those memories, like when Tony Stark was remembering his parents and when they left for the last time, you might see Crossbones in one of those. I think this is a cool idea. It's going to feel a little bit like the last episode of Seinfeld, where they bring back every character that was ever in the show to testify for or against them. Mark Reilly, Frank Grillo. I'm always up for more Grillo as Crossbones. Do you like this call?
I like this call. I like the idea that it could be the barf technology that they utilize to do it.
It is called barf. That's right.
It's called barf. I like that. Grillo, he's so great as Crossbones. I think it's fun to have the idea, Avengers 4, we're getting everybody, like the last episode of Seinfeld. My favorite thing about this with Grillo is that he's like, you know what, I'm just going to say it because I'm never going to work for Marvel again. And he just says it. And it's like, he's like, I'm 117 years old, so they're not going to use him anymore. That was funny to me because I don't see this as a huge spoiler, like you said. I see this as kind of a no-brainer. Like, we are going to, whether it's barf, time travel, as the rumors say, or some kind of other way, gauntlet or otherwise, many stones there that can be utilized. that we're going to see a lot of the best ofs characters from all the MCU.
Yeah, Kim, Grillo on the podcast, it was the UFC Unfiltered podcast, I want to give them credit for getting this interview with Frank Grillo, is that he said it was going to be like a flashback type thing. Do you agree with Reilly that it could be a flashback, or it could be like we're using some sort of time stone to turn back the clock?
Come on, absolutely they're messing with the time stone. We've already seen, I'm glad you put the spoiler alert up already, but we've already seen in the meta of it, you know, Tom Hiddleston back in his old Loki outfit, the 2012 era New York set. Yes, they're jumping all over the place with the time stone. Of course he'll be there. I mean, Crossbones, like what Mark said, not you, the other Mark.
We call him Backup Mark at the. Is that not what?
No, that's what they call me.
They call me JV Mark when I'm not here.
Well, no, Backup. Yeah, I actually signed my contract. Backup Mark.
All right,
It's
clipboard
just
Mark.
like Crossbones. Yeah, you know, he's a character. He's not a highly important character. I remembered his name instead of Crossbones. I remembered Frank Grillo, and I remember, he's one of those villains that like is kind of a throwaway, like Jaimin Hansu's character, whose name I can't remember, but I remember Jaimin Hansu. It's not a big deal if we see him in one of these back scenes. If they had said something like Haley Atwell, yeah, this would be a big damn deal.
Right, or we get a little bit more insight into what Red Skull's been up to, something on that order. But with Frank Grillo's Crossbones, I see this less about Crossbones and more about what time period are we going to, because this flashback, the barf sequence, the time stone, it's not going to be just Crossbones chilling, mowing his lawn. It's going to be Crossbones dealing with somebody. Now, is this going to be pre-Civil War? Is this going to be back when we could still pull for Crossbones? Is this going to be in between that and whenever he dies? Is it going to be Winter Soldier era?
Right.
What exactly are we looking at with the time period? But I agree with both my panelists here, is that I think that we're going to be doing a whole lot of time travel, and I'd be up for both of these technologies, methods, however you want to refer to a time stone. I want to see jumping around with that, but I also do like those barf sequences, and we can certainly do them with the technology the MCU has now, because I think the de-aging is fantastic. So Frank Grillo, I know you like talking a lot about how Marvel's not going to use you anymore. You may want to be safe, because they can de-age anybody now and make it look realistic. Are you guys up for more de-aging when it comes to Avengers 4?
Weirdly, I like their de-aging more than I like Star Wars, and it's the same family. But it worked way better for me.
Yeah.
I didn't feel disgusted or like I can see where this is wrong while looking at it.
Right,
Yeah.
Reilly, I think that Kim's correct. I mean, as much as I love the Star Wars movies, I see like a young Kurt Russell, and I see a young Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, and I'm like, holy crap, it's really hard to tell the difference and how much it's progressed just from a young Bob Downey Jr. in Civil War to where we are now.
That's where I went, how in the hell did they do this? Like the young Robert Downey Jr., I mean, I'm looking at Weird Science Robert Downey Jr. in that Civil War.
Back to school.
Yeah.
Back
Robert
to
Downey
school,
Jr.
where I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. And then more so, Kurt Russell, you're like, wait a minute, this is the thing, Kurt Russell, right now. This is crazy. And then you get Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas. And
That was a perfect time for us to come back into our podcast listeners if they turned it off, because you
Right.
came back and the first thing you said was, this is crazy. Kurt Russell? Kurt Russell, well, he might
Right.
be in it. That's
Right.
not the breaking news we had, but we're talking about how good the de-aging looks.
The
So
de-aging, that's what
there's
we're
your
talking about.
Little hint here for Avengers 4 Infinity War. More on that as it develops. Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to be talking more Avengers 4 as we get closer to the release of the movie, or, hey, we find out what the hell the name of it is. Our next story is about George Miller, but unfortunately it's not about a new Mad Max movie. However, this does sound like a pretty fun original project that he is apparently going to write and direct. It's an original film called 3,000 Years of Longing. The log line is currently under wraps, so we're not really sure what it's about, but it's described as epic in scope, and it's expected to start filming next year. The film's currently being shopped right now at one of these big shopping movie festivals, and so we're not sure which studio will be distributing it, but we know that it's going to star Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton, and that a genie is involved somehow. So, look, you give me George Miller, you give me epic, then bring on the genies, George Miller. You guys are giggling.
We don't know what it is, but Tilda Swinton and a genie are involved.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I would say, see, I look at that casting, and if that's all I know, that's all you give me, I'm 5-1 odds that Tilda Swinton is playing the genie. And Idris Elba is a distant second to be playing a genie. I give him like 20, 25 to 1 odds.
He's not a space alien.
He was certainly not a space alien.
Yes, she is.
I don't know what we're longing for 3,000 years, but 3,000 years of longing, a genie is involved. You probably just want to get the hell out of the bottle. Right, Kim?
I mean, it sounds a lot like in Aladdin, where we see the genie has been in the lamp for a very long time. And he has a crick in his neck, and he's doing all these impressions that he somehow knows, even though he's been in the lamp forever. But yeah,
practicing.
I mean,
That's
it's
all
an
you had to
idea
do.
that we've toyed with in different media, like Aladdin, like I Dream of Jeannie even. Sure, what's the life of this genie about? Does she long to be free?
I don't know, 3,000 years is long. It's a long time to wait, Mark Reilly, but do you think that we've waited for 3 years now to see a sequel to Mad Max Fury Road, possibly called The Wasteland? That's not happening yet because George Miller is still in that legal dispute with Warner Brothers over a bonus that he was supposed to receive that Warner Brothers doesn't want to give to him. So that has to be settled. But I don't think it's out of the question to get another Mad Max movie. But in the meantime, it makes sense for George Miller to keep doing what he loves.
Yeah, and you said genie, and I went, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton and George Miller, that's not enough. Put genie in there, and it's like, I sign on. That's
like
great.
A bunch of buzzwords you
Just-
throw at a wall.
yeah,
and it's like,
buzzwords.
yes.
You're like, Idris? Yeah, Tilda? Yeah, genie. Okay, now I'm in.
Wouldn't it be great if this wasn't even a story and I just decided
You
to
made it
mess
up
with
and we
you?
believed you.
Yeah, Daniel
It's
Day-Lewis
possible.
and Jamie Lee Curtis and, I don't know, a swamp monster. In. I don't know, just in. This is great. Yeah, we know he's shopping it around, so probably not Warner Brothers. That's fine.
They're probably not going to be bidding on
They're
it.
probably not going to be bidding on it, but anytime George Miller does something, you pay attention. Whether it's Mad Max, whether it's Babe, whether
Pig in the
it's
City.
Yeah, Pig in the City. Whether it's Justice League Immortal that never got made, George Miller is one of the greats. So you put these two people together, and again, genie. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but. Man, it sounds damn intriguing.
Yeah, well, we don't have to wait 3,000 years to find out because
Good.
the movie's hopefully to start filming next summer. So we get that movie, and then maybe, just maybe, this whole legal thing gets resolved, and George Miller and Warner Brothers can go off and make another Mad Max film if that's what you want. Would you all be like super up for another Mad Max movie? Do you care? Is it
Yeah.
something you wake up every day hoping to hear?
Not every day, but yeah, just give him the bonus. How much
Yeah.
is it? Just give him the bonus. You're going to make so much money off of him.
You're going to make a lot of money on a new Mad Max movie.
Absolutely. I don't know why they're not giving that man a bonus, whatever it is. I don't know the specifics. That's for the lawyers. But when you look at that movie, was nominated for Best Picture. Yeah. It's like, come on, just give the guy what his due is. And yeah, I've been wanting another Mad Max. I mean, I've heard the rumors of a spinoff with Furiosa, which I would love to see. So there's a lot that, and I've heard many things that he had ideas for a Furiosa spinoff, for another Mad Max, that he was looking at even building sets, and then this lawsuit comes in. Like, it sounded like he was ready to go. So it's a little bit of a bummer, but then again, genie. Okay, at least we're getting that.
Got a genie. You give the genie the Steve Spots of 3 wishes. Maybe one of those is just get Warner Brothers to give me my bonus so I can go make Mad Max The Wasteland. More on that story as it develops as well. Well, if you tuned in on time, we appreciate it if you did. We have a new announcement, and that is going to be we're doing the top 10 horror movies of all time, and that is going to start airing Monday. I believe it's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So each vid is going to be 5 it's going to be 5 movies. So the Monday vid is going to be the 5 honorable mentions, and then on Tuesday it's going to be movies 10 through 6. Then Wednesday, the finale, movies 5 through the greatest horror movie of all time, as voted by the staff here around the Collider offices. Mark Reilly, I can't go to you on this because you know too much.
I know too much.
Kim Horcher, you're a fan of horror. You're attempting to make it
most
through.
Things.
The Haunting at Hill House is kind of. Are you really? I saw your tweet earlier today.
Yeah.
Kim's a great
I watched
follow
it
on
at
Twitter.
11 p.m. like an idiot.
The first episode of Haunting at
Yes.
Hill House.
Yeah.
And just the way they direct it made me anxious. Even if nothing happened, I'm like, something's going to happen most of the time.
So is your social media to be believed? Are you really out on this show?
No,
or
I'm
are you
done.
gonna-
I'm done. My boyfriend was like, are we going to watch the rest of it? And I said, no, you're watching it alone.
Oh,
I think
I
you're
can't
gonna-
watch it.
It's so good.
Okay.
Maybe I'll skip right to the end and be like, I have no fear because I'm confused.
Are you all the way done?
I'm on episode 6. We're starting episode 6 tonight. I would say that I know it's very, very scary. There's a lot of ghosts. Sorry, spoiler. Lots of
What?
ghosts. Many ghosts.
Didn't want to know that. But
I thought they were haunted by
They were haunted by
Neighbors.
genies. They were haunted by
neighbors,
genies.
Genies and neighbors.
Yeah, genies and
Gophers.
neighbors. It's Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton haunting them. They just show up and, hey, hi, let us in.
us.
It's very good. The family drama is what keeps me there. It really is. It's like some of the best acting, some of the best relationships. You know, it's so brilliant.
I read
highly
something
recommend.
that each of the siblings represents one of the steps in grief.
Wow.
In-
that
in
makes
birth order.
complete sense.
So it's denial,
Yeah.
anger.
Yeah.
So denial is Stephen, anger is Shirley, bargaining is Theo,
Ooh,
depression is Luke,
we're getting deep here.
and acceptance is Nell.
In my head, I was spelling out the acronym for BARF, and I was like, wait, that doesn't spell BARF. And then I was like, well,
All de-aged.
yeah, now it's a whole other thing. But yeah, check out The Haunting of Hill House if you haven't already.
great.
I'm 2 episodes deep of Mark Reilly, about to start episode 6, which in Star Wars terminology means that's going to be the best of the whole bunch, because Return of the Jedi, the greatest Star Wars movie of all time. Before we get to debate that,
How
we move
dare
on
you,
to
sir?
our
Wait, I
next
have
story.
something to say. Oh.
Alexander Skarsgard will be joining the cast of King Kong versus Godzilla. This, according to our own Jeff Snyder. The movie already stars King Kong and Godzilla. So I don't really care who else is going to be in the movie. As a matter of fact, I don't need too much humanity in the film. I just want to watch King Kong fight Godzilla for, my guess, about 2 hours. And they're going to team up and battle some other baddie together and high five, and we'll all be happy. But hey, we're going to get more sequels if you go see it. Now, listen to this. So we already have the upcoming Godzilla King of Monsters. And that's an exciting cast. You got Millie Bobby Brown in that, Kyle Chandler. And then you go to who we might have in the Godzilla versus Kong world, because it comes out in 2020, May 22nd of 2020. So Julian Dennison, Brian Tyree Henry, and Damian Bashir. And it's rumored to also star Denai Guerrera. So that from Black Panther and Walking Dead. So that would all be exciting. We're talking about Alexander Skarsgård primarily, but let's just throw the whole cast into this little stew right here. Kim Horcher, Godzilla versus King Kong, King Kong versus Godzilla. Are you seeing this movie?
I was actually on the set for Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Ooh.
And I know stuff that I'm not supposed to say, so I'm trying to be careful.
Pull a Frank
Are there
Grillo and
monsters
tell us
in it?
everything.
No, I am obeying the contract I signed.
Damn it.
I'm so excited for this movie, so you might know too. Now this might be where I have to rely on Mark Reilly, but Alexander Skarsgård, I think, certainly a credit to the cast.
Definitely. I
Yeah.
don't know who he could play. I would imagine just a brand new character. Maybe he works for
Monarch.
Monarch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could play.
He
dude
seems
who
like a
gets
Monarch
eaten.
man.
Like he certainly can fly the company logo high. Mark Reilly, because you and I have not been invited to any movie sets.
No.
Do you think that King Kong or Godzilla versus King Kong, the official title, I believe, something that I'm over the moon about?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you are as well. Alexander Skarsgård, he's been pretty good and stuff.
Alexander Skarsgård, I will be even more excited if this man, the part he played
It's Tarzan.
in Hold the Dark, Adam's with me here,
Okay.
shows up in that movie, because he is something to behold in Hold the Dark.
Okay.
On Netflix now. So when I read that he's going, that he got cast in this, I'm just like, he just shocked me with that role that he just did. It's a phenomenally creepy. Oh, it's so great. So you get me excited, because then you put it in all those cast members you mentioned. I don't know if you call it the guilty movie pleasure, but anytime there's a monster, Godzilla, shark, dinosaur, eats people, I'm in. It doesn't matter. I want it all. I love watching big monsters eat people. I love big monsters fighting each other. You throw in some more, monsters here. This is great. Great casting for Skarsgård, because he is, like I said, Hold the Dark was phenomenal for him. So I'd like to see what he does. I don't know. You're not going to get a lot of stuff like you do in Hold the Dark. It's a totally different genre, but you can't go wrong having these great actors surround, because you need that human drama to care about anything, because, otherwise it's just a bunch of monsters just, wrecking shit.
Yeah. So, okay, Kim, you can't say too much about Godzilla King of Monsters.
Yeah.
The movie comes out May 31st of 2019. So next year, in less than a year, we get to see it. Can you tell us if you think we should go see it?
Yeah.
She didn't think about it that
Yeah.
all.
That trailer
go.
was my favorite trailer at Comic-Con.
Oh, it was so good.
It's one of the best trailers
Yeah.
that's been made. I mean, talk about just getting me excited for that movie. Whew.
Okay, well, speaking of movies we're now excited about, Rian Johnson, in between Star Wars projects, is working on a new film called Knives Out. He wrote it this summer. He's going to be directing it, and he is adding to the already impressive casting list that he's assembled. So we already have our Chris Evans, Daniel Craig, Lakeith Stanfield, Michael Shannon, Don Johnson will be playing the detective who's looking into this murder mystery, and Ana de Armas. So they're already on board. And now we add in the legendary, maybe the greatest scream queen of all time, although she's certainly not doing a lot of screaming in the new Halloween movie. That would be Laurie Strode herself. Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be joining the cast of Knives Out. We have no idea who any of these people are going to be playing in the film. We know it's a murder mystery. Production is going to start in November. It's going to come out at some point in 2019, probably a fall-winter release, a lot like what the Murder on the Orient Express movie was last year. So something that I'm pretty pumped for here, Riley, and adding Jamie Lee Curtis into anything is a credit for viewers like us, but also for a lot of people now. They're very excited to see her back and stuff after she crushed it in the new Halloween movie.
Yeah, Jamie Lee, you're like, yep, that's awesome. She's great. She is phenomenal in Halloween. So I'm glad to see that maybe that got her this role. But the bigger thing for me, this cast is great. But having Rian Johnson kind of go back to the basics of where he started, like Brick. If anybody hasn't seen Brick, I highly recommend it. It's a great, takes place in a high school. It's like a noir mystery kind of thing set in a high school. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's fantastic. Highly recommend that. So see him to go shake off the Star Wars and maybe the divisiveness that still follows him around, that he can just go do this, get some great actors in here. I have no idea what the movie's going to be about, but if Brick is any indication, I know that we're in for a great kind of deep dive into characters, mystery, intrigue. Look at all these great actors around it. I highly recommend Brick, just so you know what I'm talking about.
Right. With Rian Johnson, if nothing else, Kim, Rian Johnson has given every writer out there who uses the excuse, oh, well, people went after me today on Twitter, so I can't really focus on writing. Rian Johnson wrote this summer, so that's pretty impressive given all the crap he got for Last Jedi. A lot of it undeserved, in my opinion. So you have Knives Out. It's got this incredible cast list. Do you have any inkling as to who did it?
No, I don't even know what's been done. A stabbing?
I don't know. It's called Knives Out. So
this is another story that we don't know anything about, but we just know it's happening, and it looks pretty cool. I mean, this seems like the natural way to go after directing a Star Wars movie. It's like, I'm going to go back to not a Star Wars movie. You know, I'm going to have it a little bit more close to my chest and have more say in what happens. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting he's going the horror route. I assume it's horror, but I'm basing that on this picture that they didn't make.
Yeah, murder mystery. I mean, I think he was inspired by the Agatha Christie novels. And correction, Daniel Craig is actually playing the investigator, not Don Johnson, who will be playing some guy who looks like Don Johnson.
Just horror is this genre where you get to... It used to be sci-fi, and maybe before that it was westerns, where you get to explore concepts that are kind of haunting our psyches in a way. Like we had that with Get Out, being nominated for Best Picture and exploring ideas that were decisively not necessarily horror genre, but horrific and kind of real. So I like that he's going this way. It pushes that thesis I have even further.
Yeah, it's something to get pumped for sure. So Knives Out, hopefully they start shooting it this year still, and it comes out next fall/winter. One more story to get to, and then we're going to take your live Twitter questions. Go ahead and start tweeting us right now at Collider Video. Use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. Our last story, if you're a fan of the hugely popular manga series My Hero Academia, you're going to be very excited by this news because apparently a live-action version of My Hero Academia is in the works at Legendary. This thing has been a global powerhouse in print, television, and even on the big screen in its native country of Japan. It's one of the most popular shows in Japan. It's become a hit abroad as well. So basically what the story is that 80% of humanity in this new version of reality has developed some sort of superpower, but they're not called superpowers, they're called quirks because, to be honest, most of them aren't really superpowers. It's like that episode of Family Guy where Meg just can grow her fingernails a little bit longer. So everybody has these little quirks, at least 80% of them do. The story follows a particular boy named Deku who obsesses about all these new heroes that are surrounding him, but he is one of the 20% that does not have special powers. So, My Hero Academia, honest question for both the panelists. Either y'all heard of this prior to this reporting, and does this sound like something that's going to work? And if it's going to work, how can we make it work? Kim Horcher.
Number one, yes. Number 2, no. I mean, it's nothing to say against Legendary or anyone who attempts this kind of... No, actually, it is. Not against Legendary, but against anyone who attempts this kind of thing. Most live-action anime adaptations turn out bad. Bleach is the only one that's pretty decent. It's on Netflix now. But if you look at Full Metal Alchemist, terrible. If you look at Death Note, also terrible. What else did I see? Attack on Titan, I didn't like that one either. A lot of the time, it's in the correct form when you first see it, which is maybe animated.
Right. It's hard for a lot of studios to accept the fact that just not everything translates into a film. Well, I mean, I'd be excited to see something like this, but I'm probably the easiest person to please when it comes to the source material because I'm not familiar with it. So if you just give me that premise as an elevator pitch, yeah, I'll buy into it. I hope it's casted appropriately given its country of origin. Mark Reilly, does this sound like something that you think could work at the box office?
Yeah, I mean, I think the story, I'm with you. I hadn't heard of it before. So the story intrigues me. I like the story a lot. So I think it can work. I think it has all the hallmarks of what we're dealing with now in the movie cinemas. It's popular. Superheroes are popular. We're starting to develop a number of offshoots that don't just include DC and Marvel. So the story sounds very intriguing. But to be honest with you, I just listened to what you were saying, Kim, and I was like, you're right. You know,
they usually turn out poorly. I don't know if it's because of casting or writing or trying to cram what could be several volumes of a book series or an entire season of a show into one thing. And I mean, if you look at Full Metal Alchemist, they tried to cram several episodes, early episodes into this, and it was just, I fell asleep. It was so boring. It was done better years before it came out.
Yeah, so it makes me go, do we have any announcements on who's writing it, who's developing it, who's producing it, who could be acting in it? You know, we don't know any of that stuff. So I would go, bring on the original creators. Make that their project, you know? I don't know who that is. You probably know. Bring them in and make a very faithful adaptation so that it can target the hardcore lovers and bring in new people like us.
I mean, that's the first fan base that, even though, like I said, I'm going to be the easiest one to please, I'm not the one you should be aiming for. Because if you don't please the hardcore fans, as you saw with something like Ghost in the Shell, the backlash gets out to everyone, and they tend to ignore the movie.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
And I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Yeah.
And I hated the way Scarlett Johansson responded to it. But it's just, I mean, there's also inherent differences between American cinema or, you know, Western Hollywood and Japanese films because they're made very differently and with different casting ideas and different big picture thoughts in mind. This seems like it's going to be a Hollywood film.
Right, and especially with Legendary making it. Legendary they're a production company that clearly is at the forefront of making their movies for a worldwide, global audience. With the kind of projects they have, they're not just looking to get a lot of money in the United States. They're looking to make money all over the world with their movies. So it's a tough note to hit if you have a hardcore fan base that you need to please that was based in Japan and then has grown to be a worldwide phenomenon. So good luck with that. Again, keep you all posted if we hear anything more about My Hero Academia. Okay, time for live Twitter questions, but first, I want to remind you guys that tomorrow TV Talk is going to be all new, and special guest star Roxy Stryer is going to be on that as well. And we also have the Reilly Roundtable podcast. It's your podcast you do every week. Tell us a little bit about this week's episode, sir.
This week's episode, I welcome in my writing partner and dear friend Lisa Gottman. She's a stand-up comedian. We talk about
Gottman. She's great.
Yeah, we talk about her career. We talk about her script that just advanced in another screenwriting contest. So we talk a little bit about that and how you can do that, how you can maybe a little bit of advice, and then we talk about how she kicked the crap out of cancer.
That's awesome.
Beat it.
Yeah.
Got it out of there. It was a great story that she told. Highly recommended. She's a great one.
They still have the theater on.
Oh My Ribs.
Oh My Ribs. Yeah.
Oh My Ribs, and how she's
venue.
Yeah, she started a stand-up theater here in LA and does shows every week, special shows, all that kind of stuff. She's a busy one, that Lisa Gottman.
Well, not to be outdone, Kim Horcher is going to be having a busy weekend herself because Saturday you have a pretty full slate. It sounds like at Los Angeles Comic-Con. I forgot LA Comic-Con is this weekend, and Kim Horcher is going to be playing live Dungeons and Dragons. Nice. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, so it's going to be on Saturday. I just got this info.
See, I'm here to be your assistant this weekend.
At 12:30, and I think it's at the Legion M booth. It's at least in conjunction with Legion M. See, I'm just learning this. So we're going to play that for 2 hours, and then we're going to do a live Q&A panel after.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And people can get all the info by following you on Twitter, I imagine, all that good
Yes,
stuff.
I'm sure there'll be some hurried tweets right before it's supposed to air.
Yeah, it's always fun. Or if you do a stand-up show like the one I'm doing at Lowe's Globus tomorrow night, you get a bunch of texts 30 minutes before the show. Hey, is it cool if I get in on the list? No, it's not cool. Just go to markellislive.com, use the promo code Schmoes. Unless your name's Kim Horcher, then I might have ability to get you in. But before we get to all that, before the hubbub and the hoopla of tomorrow night's show, we're going to get to your live Twitter questions. I am contractually obligated to remind you, and it really doesn't take a lot of prodding to get me to do this, is that tomorrow, the movie trivia Schmoedown. Boy, is it a big one, because John the Outlaw Roca is going to be taking on William the Beast Bibbiani.
Oh, no.
It's all on the line, and we might break the decibel record here in the studio as far as how loud the competitors. I don't know if these mics, these poor little mics, they have to deal with me every day. I don't know if they can handle what's about to go down on this very table.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
This is going to be one for the ages, I'm sure. Yeah.
The episode is going to be around 2 p.m.-ish tomorrow. Make sure you guys tune into that and see who wins between the Outlaw and the Beast. All right, on to live Twitter questions, and we're going to call it a day here. First one comes in interesting from M. Brenner. Says he's been hearing that Beetlejuice 2 is not really being made. Is it? Please say it is. So you really want a Beetlejuice sequel. Unfortunately, I don't have any hardcore news on the updates of Beetlejuice 2, but if this makes you feel any better, 2019 is going to see a Broadway production of Beetlejuice. That they just had the first look of the new Beetlejuice that's going to be live on Broadway in Entertainment Weekly. And according to sources, it's a younger and punkier version of Beetlejuice. So if you are an actor and you're a theatrically trained Broadway star, if you can play Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar, got a pretty good shot at landing the role of Beetlejuice, although I think it's already been cast. Did I just sell you guys on going to see Beetlejuice on Broadway next year?
Younger and punkier?
Younger and punkier Beetlejuice.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, you didn't do any favors with a younger and punkier. I'm like, huh?
He's not a... I mean, even in the original, he wasn't, like, young.
He's the ghost with the most.
Yeah.
It's like, is that punkier? I don't know.
He's not like... It sounds like when Disney tries to make Mickey Mouse like a cool rapper or street dancer, and it just doesn't work because of who Mickey Mouse is and what his strengths are. Yeah. And it's like, he's cool and punky. He's got attitude and batitude. He rides a skateboard and eats nachos. It's just like... who asked for this?
Yeah. Thinking about that, despite where the theater's located tomorrow night, I don't know that I need to see a Beetlejuice that lives in Silver Lake, but I could be wrong about that. Maybe the literal theatrical production will win me over. That comes out in 2019.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will assuage M. Brenner's desire to see more Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I don't think there's a sequel happening. I think that, I know it was announced. The last I heard, that was like Toad Hop days.
Everybody
the Schmoes know.
Seems it's been just circling around the periphery.
It's been this talk. I mean, I think it was Seth Graham-Smith, who was a producer on it and a screenwriter as well. I think he was going to be a producer on it. There were whispers, there was talk, and then nothing. And I don't think, maybe there's a script out there, but we haven't heard of anything in a very long time. I'd be surprised if something came. Maybe the show. Maybe the show can get very popular. We've had these Broadway shows come out, whether it's your Wicked, your Lion Kings, your Phantom of the Operas, obviously the big shows that become a phenomenon. And then maybe that pumps some juice into the brand, and they go, you know what, let's get a Beetlejuice 2 in development again. So you never know.
Beetlejuice into the brand. What do you think's more likely, the Crow remake
my God.
Beetlejuice 2?
That Crow remake is I don't know. There is a curse that thing is not happening.
I would say the Crow remake is kind of like Beetlejuice in the sense that if you say Crow remake 3 times, there's going to be a news story that breaks about it that we have to report on before all the production cracks. So I think you'd see... I just don't think... I think you're going to see a version of Beetlejuice back on the big screen. I don't think it's going to be Beetlejuice 2, but I would still vote for Beetlejuice 2 before you see a successful reboot of The Crow.
Right.
All right, well, our next question comes from @Markel, Chris L. Suspirio with the Jack-o'-lantern, because it's a season of taking. The question is, what's a less talked about horror movie that you'd put in your personal top 10? So, Chris kicks us off with Drag Me to Hell. Which I would sign up for. Yeah, that movie scared the crap out of me. I see so many people talking about Drag Me to Hell as like a horror comedy and a campy. That movie scared the living S out of me. I was horrified seeing Drag Me to Hell. The old lady with the fingernails and the hoofed demon coming up. Scary stuff. Well done, Sam Raimi.
That's a good one.
Okay, Mark Reilly.
The Autopsy of Jane Doe. That's a fantastic horror movie. I love it. Brian Cox. Oh God. Why can't I remember his name?
Is it Emil Hirsch?
Emil Hirsch. Thank you.
2 points.
Schmoedown.
That's 2 points.
Hashtag Schmoedown.
Because I didn't need multiple choice.
You did not need multiple choice. That movie, that shocked me how good it was, how scary it was, how it got under your skin, how it just kept going. And you're like, what am I watching right now? This is one of those. It's a great. I think it could. Maybe it's not in my top 10 right now, but I think just talking about it now, I want to go watch it again. And tis the season. So that's a great one. Not a lot of people talk about.
Okay, so right now we have votes for Drag Me to Hell, which I co-sign, and we have The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Kim Horcher, the final word goes to you.
You shouldn't have done that. Sleepaway Camp?
Yeah.
That's a movie?
weird one.
It's a weird one.
I can kind of...
I only can tell you the twist, but so I'm trying to dance around it. It's a camp.
Where you sleep
and
away.
There's this weird thing with the family, and there's gender issues.
Yes.
It's probably not very... I don't know if it stands the test of time.
It doesn't stand the test of time, but it is that twist that stands the test of time.
And it's pretty uncool, actually, if you think about it.
Can I tell the two of y'all something as a pair?
Okay.
You guys are great at pitching concepts.
Okay.
You should be doing this all over town. You come in and it's so good you don't even tell them the twist. You just say, just give us money and let us make this movie, because you both seem to be really high on Sleepaway Camp. What year did the movie come out?
I don't
In
know.
the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Early 80s.
I never even heard of the term Sleepaway Camp until Perry Nemiroff brought it up to me, because I just thought Sleepaway Camp, you know what else is called? Camp. That's what it's called. There's day camp for people who don't want to spend overnight, and then there's just camp, and that's the sleepaway version.
Right.
I used to be a day camp counselor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, maybe that specification is needed because I'm not moving out to a cabin.
Yeah.
She plays D&D by day, and she counsels kids also by day, because it's not a
I'm done.
sleepaway camp.
I like
So
technology.
much to both Mark Reilly and Kim Horcher for chiming in and being great panelists on this, our last show of the week. Because it's Thursday, we will be back Monday for a new episode of Collider Movie Talk at 4 p.m. on the West Coast, 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and wherever you live, you can do the math for yourself. If you're in Cupertino, your phone will tell you. Thank you to Mark. Thank you to Kim Horcher. Make sure you all check out Kim this weekend at the LA Comic-Con. I might be there pounding around too. There's just so much cool stuff happening at LA Comic-Con on Saturday. I'm going to go, and then Sunday I will be participating in something that I consider an honor. Holly Payne tapped me to be on the panel for a John Schnepp Memorial that's going to be taking place at Los Angeles Comic-Con. That's Sunday afternoon. I'll make sure that I tweet out all the details this weekend. Love to see all your smiling faces there to honor our good buddy. All right, throw it to the wide as we say goodbye. See everybody tomorrow night. Looking forward to your smiling faces. Have a great weekend, everybody. Don't go to sleep weekend. Hey, everybody. Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.